Okay, it's me and back on. I want to get this part done because I know if you do put it on my heart to take and finish this you won't need it because I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to share this part of the video that I did on this first one with on my other stuff on TikTok and YouTube. Anyway, I stopped off at let's go to Matthew chapter 3 verse 9 then 11. It's a 911 call, y'all. Remember Sunday's Eve lottery number 931 came out straight in the 3-digit after he preached from Matthew chapter 3 and he spoke about 80,000 gathered together at a stadium on 10/10/2026. The day before I was guided back once again to John chapter 3, but I was told to go backwards and do only the middle of verse 3, verse 2, and verse 1. Water spoke to me quickly. Water spoke to me quickly because I know that 1, 2, 3 plays for water, and you find this number in Revelation chapter 22, verse 1, where water flows from Father Elohim Yahweh's throne. Let me read it right quick. Okay. Chapter 22, verse 1. It says, okay, chapter 22, verse 1 says, and he showed me a pure river of water of life, clear as crystal, proceeding out of the throne of God and the Lamb. That's chapter 22, verse 1. So, like I said, that spoke to me quickly, verse 1, where water flowed from Father Elohim Yahweh's throne. Okay, and you can find the 1, 2, 3 in there. You know, because it's been a while since I did it. I believe it's 3 parts. This in the middle is 2. So let me make sure. 1, 2. No, it's 4. It's 4. 1, 2, 3. Hold on. My eyes playing trick on me. Okay, let me see. Make sure. 1, 2, 3. Okay, it looks to be 3 parts and my eyes playing trickery, but anyway, I know it's in there. Okay. First verse, the middle is 2, okay, and you got 3 parts to it. So you got 1, 2, 3 right there. And that's why it spoke to me. Yeah, the middle is you got 1, 2, you got 3 parts to it. So you get 1, 2, 3 right there, and no, it spoke to me. Okay, and I'm talking about Pastor Pastor Philip Michael Anthony in 2018 church. This is what I'm speaking about. If you go back and you watch the video he did from Sunday, he came from Matthew's chapter 3, verse 3 to 17, I think it was. But anyway, will water flow from Elohim throne? Okay. Anyway, he spoke about 80,000 people being in the stadium at one time. A thing they trying to do on 10/10/2026. The numbers showed up in the middle verse as well as the 102, the 106. Okay, let me slow down a little bit because now I ain't got the rest I got on that. I ain't gonna take no long time with this anyway, cause Oh my God, man. I wish I would have had room to do that on that because of continuation. Anyway, he spoke about 80,000. Okay. Now, I was told to go back Saturday, and this was early Saturday as I was taking a walk, and it came to me to go to John chapter 3 and do verse 3, then verse 2, then verse 1 to go backwards doing it, and to only do the middle of them. Okay, so I go back and I do this. When I do it, I'm thinking somebody playing a game with me, because it didn't holler at me in the way that I'm used to stuff hollering at me when it comes from the Lord. But as I began to settle down, I began to see certain things, okay? But it still didn't holler, okay? I'm going to be honest about that. It didn't holler to the next day when he got to talking about the 80,000. That's when it really began to holler at me. And it hollered at me even more because all the numbers from me doing this in the middle came out in the Powerball that night. From out of the middle. Except for one word. That's miracle. Because miracle wasn't in the middle. Miracle was the 29th word in that. It's the 29th word in John chapter 3. And it ain't in the middle. Let me make sure, because I don't want to say nothing to get the enemy any excuse. Okay, the middle has 6 in it, so hold on, 6 parts. Yeah, my eyes, it's time for me to let this go, my eyes down. 1, 2, 3. 3, that's 3. 4, yep, miracle wasn't in the middle. 5, 6, okay. Miracle was outside the middle, but was still part of the thing, and miracle was the 29th word. But all the other numbers was fine in the middle. But anyway, let me go on and take and do this before I mess around and mess up some more. And don't want to do that at all. Don't want to get an enemy a chance to talk any kind of way. But I know God is speaking. Okay, got to right there, fold this down. Now, I'm gonna do this right quick, and then I'm gonna go ahead. Not gonna show all of it. So let me block this right here. Just want to do this right here. Okay, push this up. Block this. No, we ain't gonna show all of it. If you talking, you want me to do some more. Okay. Okay. Now, this is the middle of John chapter 3 verse 2. Okay. This is the middle. Now watch this. I'm going to the middle. Okay. You get the number 80 right there. Okay. And you get the number 106. But before you get the number 106, you get the number 102. Now this is how you do it. Okay, you get right here. Okay, you got the words. When you add the words and all the letters up together, okay, when you get all the letters is 80. When you do all the words, that's 22. And that give you 102. You got 4 parts. 4 parts give you 106. Okay, now let's make sure. Okay. Yeah. No, just did the middle, because we're just doing the middle. So make sure 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Yep, just the middle. And that's where it go. Okay, we just dealing with the middle. When we do the middle, you get to the 22. So I just want to show. Okay, if you're taking your count and you go to where the middle is, you'll get 22, because the fullness of it is 37. But you'll get 22. So I'm doing it from there. So anyway, when you do the middle, number you get is 22, and you get 80. You add 22 and 80 up together, you get 102. And plus you got 4 parts to the whole thing, so you get 106. Okay? You get because the middle is 3 and 4. Okay? I mean the middle is 3 and 4. Slow down, man. 3 and 4. So if you take and do that, you get the number 106. Now, let me go back to what I'm doing. Now in here, and what I'm doing in here, he talking about 80,000. So in the middle of that, and 2 is the middle verse, you get the number 80. So when he got to talking about 80,000, a light just went straight on. I'm like, wow, number 80 was just in there. And then you had me take and do nothing but the middle. And all the numbers from the Powerball that night, besides one number 29, came from out of what I did in the middle. And if I had to, I could show a person. So I'm not just talking to be talking. You know, and then when he said, I was like, wow, what God getting ready to do? So I go ahead and I'm writing all this down. So here it is. You get the 80 show up in the middle verse, as well as the 102 and the 106. I just showed it to you. And I can show it if I had to prove it to someone. Now, so here it is. We got the 80. And here it is. We got a man the next day talking about the stadium that hold 80,000. So I'm like, wow, okay. Maybe this wasn't Satan telling me to do it. Because I got mad when I got a little upset. I ain't gonna lie. I got a little upset. I'm like, okay, this ain't, no, it ain't. It ain't dying with me, you know. But anyway, make a long story short. You get the 80, you get the 102 and 106. Now, I will stop after I say this. Chapter 3, verse 24 is the last verse in chapter 3. It is the 80th verse. It's the 80th verse. Yeah, we need to catch this right here. Because God is, he hollering. He hollering. Let's read the 80th verse in Genesis chapter 3. Let's read the 80th verse. Let's read the 80th verse. The 80th verse in Genesis chapter 3 is Genesis 3 and 24. That's the 80th verse. So he drove out the man. So he drove out the man and placed at the east of the Garden of Eden cherubims and a flaming sword which turns every way to keep the way of the tree of life. So he put Adam and Eve out the garden, then got the cherubim garden with a flaming sword. Okay? That's the 80th verse. But look what's happening here. Because we pay attention to John chapter 3. Jesus is saying in that, let me not mess this up, man. Jesus is saying in here in chapter 3, verse 2. No, we got to go to verse 3 to get this. Jesus answered and said unto him, verily, verily, I say unto thee, except a man be born again, he cannot see the kingdom of God. So here it is. This is telling us that a way has been made for us to get back, not just into the garden, but into the kingdom. Okay? To the kingdom. Now, like I said, when I was told to do just the middle, it made me think about something I was told a few years back, because I was told a few years back to start focusing a little bit more on that, because other stuff was there too, and I just didn't do it. But I was obedient, serious, and I did. I'm glad that I did. So here it is. The 80th verse show man and woman being kicked out. But here it is, a message that comes from out the middle that's reflecting God saying that there's a way back in. Oh, get this. Get this, y'all. Because the same verse that the 80 and the 102 and the 106 is showing up in, God is speaking to a man and telling him it's the way that's back in. Go and read verse 1. John chapter 3, verse 1 to 6 for yourself. So when I get back on here and I get to talking about the rest of this that's being revealed, y'all can understand the flow. And maybe I won't have to get back on here. You know. Here it is, verse 8. This shows up when I just do nothing from out the from when I do only this stuff from out the middle. It gives you verse 80 and it shows the garden being sealed off where we can't get back in it. Now, you get the 102 from out of this too. The 102 verse is the verse right here where it's speaking. 102 verse is Genesis chapter 4 verse 22. And back to the wife. Now here it is, the wife who's been mentioned the second time twice. Okay, it says right here, because after 21, when you get the verse, when you get to verse 20, you speak about the wife Ada, and you know her children that she bare, and the things that they do. One of them handles the harp and the organs, make the music, and the other one dwell in tents. Okay, then it mentions Zillah again as point to her being the second wife. Now watch what it say. And Zillah Zillah, she also bare Tubal-Cain, an instructor of every artificial brass and iron, and the sister of Tubal-Cain was Naamah. I did that thing. I'm pronouncing because I wanted to pronounce it. I tried for y'all. I swear I did. I tried. I tried. Anyway, I feel. Okay, so here it is. It's speaking about the second wife and the second wife's son being the one. Pay attention to this. Because remember, God gave Adam one wife. Now this is the second wife, and look at the son that she bare. The son that she bare was the one that learned know how to work with brass and iron. What are swords and stuff made by? The tool of the kid. From the second wife. Second wife of Abraham bare Ishmael. Look at all the stuff that's going on right now from that line and that lineage. Not saying all of them is bad, but you just pay attention to the similarities. Okay? Now we get to verse 106. When you get to verse 106, that's Genesis 4 and 26. And look what it says. And to Seth, to him also there was born a son, and he called his name Enos. Then began men to call upon the name of the Lord. Now, all this comes from out of the second verse, where miracles is mentioned and Jesus is mentioned. Now they told me the number 80, the number 102, and the number 106. The most important numbers from all of it is the 80 and the 106. Because he's saying the stadium a whole 80,000. They talking about going in the stadium and calling on God. Praising God and praying and all that, right? What does the 106 verse say? You get the 106 in the middle of that verse where the 80 is. The 80 makes up that gets you to the 106. I just showed y'all. And y'all that have this sermon and know that I'm not lying. The day before I did this. And all the Powerball numbers come from what I was told to do out of verse 3, 2, and 1. Yeah, the 29 was hidden. But it was the miracle. So 5 of them came from what I was told to do. And when I said, okay, this came because it would have had all of them in there. The 6 over the 29 was hidden within a word. So that shows you how words and numbers can talk. That gave you all 6 balls. Anyway, let me read what I got and get on off here. Anyway, now we will stop after I say this. Genesis chapter 3 verse 24 is the last verse in chapter 3. It's the 80th verse I read. Genesis chapter 4 verse 22. Now Zillah was mentioned. Zillah was mentioned twice as being the second wife of Cain's grandson, and her son Tubal Cain was the artificial of every of brass and iron. I just mentioned that too. The second wife also bare a daughter. Verse 22 is the 102nd verse in the Bible. Now Genesis 4:26 speaks about men calling on the Lord again. This is the 106th verse, as I said, in the Bible. All 3 of these verses come from the middle verse of John chapter 3 verse 2. I just showed y'all on what I did. Jesus was in the middle of the two other men that had done wrong. He told one that he would take him with him. Why did he say he would do this? Question. Was it because he believed? Question. Did the man admit his wrongdoing? Question. And did he admit Jesus was innocent? Now Luke chapter 23 verse 39 to 44 read, then John chapter 3 next video. Okay, Luke chapter 23. We're gonna go to Luke chapter 23. Okay, Luke chapter 23. Luke chapter 23 verse 39. Luke chapter 23 verse 39 to 44. And one of the malefactors which were hung railed on him, saying, If thou be Christ, save thyself and us. But the other answering rebuked him, saying, Does not thou fear God, seeing thou art in the same condemnation? Verse 41. We indeed justly, for we receive the due reward of our deeds. But this man has done nothing amiss. 42. And he said unto Jesus, Lord, remember me when thou comest into thy kingdom. Verse 43. And Jesus said unto him, Verily, I say unto thee, today shalt thou be with me in paradise. Now watch this, verse 44, watch this. And it was about the 6th hour, and there was darkness over all the earth until the 9th hour. So here it is. We get the 6 and the 9 right there, okay? And it speaks about in the 44th verse, right? Now we know after Jesus hung on the cross and he did what he did, that made a way for us to have the Spirit. Now I'm getting ready to have the Holy Spirit released unto us again. Now I'm getting ready to show you the 44 too in here. It's the same little thing. Make sure I ain't got nothing else showing. Okay, here it is. Okay, that's that middle right there. Okay, now this, look at that 44 right there. Okay, Flip this back and show a little too much when I did that. Okay, anyway, I'm getting ready to get up off of here. Y'all that watched this video, the first video that I did, I might not be able to take and post on TikTok. So y'all might have to come to Facebook and watch it, or YouTube and watch it. They get the first part of this. So, know that. I'm going to try to see if I can't post it up there. I hope they won't make too big of a thing about a few seconds more on there. But you know how people are and know how things go. But anyway, this right here ain't no coincidence. And I've been here in this with John since June. And I can't tell you how many times I've been sent back to chapter 3 in these last few months, over and over. Matter of fact, go all the way back to last year off and on, to be honest. And y'all that have discernment to know this. And I haven't been able to figure out why, but now I'm trying. Now I'm being able to understand it a little bit more. It's no coincidence that the 80 showed up like that. And then the 81st man is being kicked out. But here it is, a man want to do something where 80,000 is able to be held in there. And the verse that it showed up, Jesus talking about the way that you can get back into the kingdom is being born of water and spirit. No coincidence, y'all. None. No coincidence that the 106 showed up there in the middle verse. That's when man started to call back up on God again. Read it for yourself. Like right now, see this type of stuff I'm talking about, that's how you know that there's an evil root attached on it. There might be somebody that want me to just say something bad about the Muslims. So it could be somebody playing in the spirit realm right now that's just hollering out a lot. So I'm going to know it. I ain't going to respond that way because I don't believe all of them are bad. I believe that there's a bad spirit attached there. I do. Just like in Christianity, because I don't believe the church should have never made it where priests didn't get married. Because you pay attention to that with Moses and Moses' mother and father, both of them come from the tribe of Levi. And all through the Bible, God talk about men and women. I think that's where the church really made the worst mistake they could have made. Because without any doubt, the spirit of Ivan is connected to homosexuality. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. When I ended up going through the pyramid that day, I was passing rooms where people was doing sacrifices and having orgies and stuff before I made it in there to where the spirit of Ivan and Ra and the spirit of the diamond-shaped head was. I had passed all that before I went into what it was. Just pay attention, y'all. I stand on that, what the Moorish say, signs, symbols for the conscious mind. How did that happen? How did I get ministered to as I was walking about go to John chapter 3 and go backwards from verse 3 to verse 1 and do nothing but the middle? And then the middle verse gives you the number 80, the number 102, and the number 106. And just pay attention to all of it. Pay attention to how I got guided to Genesis chapter 1, verse 3 today. And God saying, let there be light. And then when you get to the end of it, and it was like you get 37, but the middle you get 21. Then God revealing that he was shining a light on the evil that happened with Cain and the evil that was going on with us. But he's still making a way for us to be able to take and get into the kingdom. No coincidence, y'all. Come on. That's love. Raw love. Come on, wake up. Can't see who that is. I don't know who he is, hey. Anyway, I'm going to get on with here. I'm tired, but just pay attention, y'all. Hey. He loves us. And we got to, if we don't get this, and then you get the out of it, you get the number 5786 and 5787. Just Been one revelation after another, y'all. All kinds of how can I say, love been shown in here through his word and what he want to do. Blessings, healings, miracles. And then that same middle verse, look what the middle verse said. I'm gonna end this. I'm gonna go and get over here, cause if y'all don't get this, man, then I don't know what to say, man. Cause 80,000 people on one accord, you can't tell me heaven ain't gonna move. Truly on one accord, oh, without a doubt, baby. And then 8 means beginning. Okay, let's right here. The middle verse. The second verse, where the 80, the 102, or the 22, and the 106, all of them show up. Now pay attention to this. The same came to Jesus by night, Nicodemus, and said unto him, Rabbi, we know that thou art a teacher come from God. Acknowledge him. For no man can do these miracles that thou dost, except God be with him. And when you get to that with him, you get to 37. Okay, that's the second verse. That's where the 80, the 102, and the 106 come from out of. Okay? Then we go and read down. If God want me to take and finish with this, we're going to rest of 3 going into 7 and maybe 17 and 21. I don't know. But he's speaking about healing, about miracles. I showed y'all how he had me to go to John 9 and 11. You get 37s in there. Number 37 word. What did he do? He opened up the eyes of the blind man. I'm gone, man. Y'all don't get this, then ain't nothing I can do about it, man. But I'm hoping that I can get the blessing I need. I'm hoping that God will let me take and go. Hoping that He'll be with me, because I'll sure love to be a part of it unless He's telling me no. All right, love y'all. Have a blessed day.